Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. My name is Mike. It is May the 12th. It's 11 a.m. Central European time. Bitcoin is ripping. Trade deals are being done left, right, and center. And you, my friends, are probably 6 months away from the end of the bull run. And it's been a journey. It's been a journey. We started back at $18,000. We're now at $105,000. We've come a long way, baby. We've got a lot to talk about today. We've got a lot of news regarding Bitcoin. We've got the charts to go through. We're going to talk about a $10,000 ETH, believe it or not. We're going to talk about stable coins, but dark stable coins, and potentially underworld stable coins. We're going to talk about Binance leading the meme revolution. We're going to talk about XRP, and then we're going to finish with 4 of the best real world asset tokens that you might want to hold for the rest of the bull run. All of that in an hour, and we're going to go through some X files as well at the beginning, and of course we're going to go through the charts. Good morning, Charles. Good morning, Mags. Good morning, Velvet Rope. Good morning, Manjeet. Kishan. I hope you are all doing incredibly well. Let's get off this, shall we? Now then, I'm going to try and not have too many rants today because we've got the charts to go through today. As you can see on the right-hand side, the charts is where we have a look at the kind of the macro side of things. So we look at the dollar index, we look at Bitcoin dominance, we look at total market cap, we look at a few other things as well. I am looking at the Bitcoin chart. I have 3 price targets for Bitcoin. And again, I am not Mr. TA. Mr. TA is the Oracle, who will probably be streaming tonight. Let me just adjust my camera so you can see a little bit more of me. The funniest comment I ever got was about 3 or 4 months ago, and I think my camera must have been like this, okay? And one of the guys in chat, I don't know who it was, said, "You look like you're drowning." And that just made me laugh, and that brings a smile to my face every time I say it. Now then, we're going to get on to Be a Baby Deer in a second, but let's have a look at the markets. We are coming in at 3.37 trillion. Just a few reminders of what I've been saying for about 2 years. I expect the bull run to top out between 6 and 10 trillion. Now, that's a massive difference. 6 to 10 trillion is a massive difference. But from where we are now, a $250,000 Bitcoin, for example, would put us somewhere in the region of about 6 trillion. And that's without the alts moving. And what's difficult to say or predict is how much money is going to come into alts, which are going to get ETFs, how much money is going to come into them. That's the difficult part. So we are halfway there. And when I made that prediction, we were well below $1 trillion. Now we're back at around about the market cap we were at many moons ago. And we're now back at it, back over 3 trillion. We're approaching 3.5 trillion, which we could very easily hit today. We're $150 billion away from a $3.5 trillion market cap. We're sitting at just below $105,000 on Bitcoin. Bitcoin dominance, we're going to look at that in a minute. ETH dominance, this was over 22% a year or so ago. It's 9.2%. We're not going to have an alt season with Ethereum dominance that low. Bitcoin dominance is 61.6 according to this, but I think it's a different price than what I'm expecting. Now then, I am not going to sit here and tell you I told you so. I'm going to do that when we talk about Ethereum later on. Ethereum is coming in just below $2,600. XRP still hasn't got back to $2.50. Remember, I'm not here to get excited. I'm not here to get depressed. That's your job. I'm here to try and steer the ship, and $2.42 is not where we want XRP to be. We want it over $2.50. It's not there yet. Solana is in a nicer position. Look at the gain on XRP, look at the gain on Solana, 20% up, 176. I told you $100 to $110 was a good price to get Solana at, and I told you that 2 or 3 weeks ago. We're at $176 today. The stablecoin USDC is probably the worst performing asset now in the top 10 other than Tether. Anyway, Cardano, look, I've been telling you we're at 60 cents. The magic number for Cardano for me was 80 cents. We're back above it. So I have price targets in my head. I'm not Matt Fraser. I don't speak to the dead, but I have prices that I think coins should be at. 168, I think, or 163 was Solana was my next target up. XRP $2.50. Cardano was 80 cents. We hit the Cardano, we hit the Solana. We haven't hit XRP yet, so it's still got a way to go to get to 250. And that will be a springboard for $3, and then $3.50, and then off we go. So recency bias is going to hurt you. And again, we're not at the one swallow doesn't make a summer at the minute, but this time next week, we could be an awful lot higher than where we are now. Sui broke $4. I talked to Jason in Telegram a week ago when it was at about $3.50, $3.60, and he was talking about $5. Absolutely. I am making a video today that has taken me some time to make, and that video is Sui going to be the Solana of this bull run? And I'm going to lay out the facts on why Sui is going to be the Solana of this bull run. And for those of you that are new, Solana came from nowhere and ran up to $250 in the last bull run, and it never stopped. It just kept going and going and going and going. And of all the coins that are currently out there at this moment in time, Sui is, I think, the one that's going to break the top 10. A few weeks ago, it was below 10 billion. It's now at 14 billion. It still has a way to go to catch Cardano and Tron. But of every coin beneath it, it's the one that I think is in the pack. We could, of course, see Hedera, Stellar, Avalanche, Toncoin would bring out some incredible news, which would propel them. But that would be a short-term pump. I think Sui has got momentum. And that momentum, I think, is going to break $5. And if we don't get any serious corrections in the next couple of weeks, it's going to go to $5. And I think it's going to seriously look at the top 10. So they are the top coins. Each one of them is either closer or further away from where I expect. Let's have a look at the gainers. There we go. I'm ignoring that coin. A little bit like WorldCoin, it's trash. I don't care for it. I don't want anyone to get it. There is too many scammy things associated with it. I don't want to talk about Pi. You will notice, by the way, that we are having a meme coin pump, and a massive one at that. Dog with Hat, Floki, Bonk, Pepe. The people that told you that meme coins were dead were wrong. The people that told you that this is going to be the meme season or the meme bull run are also wrong. They aren't. This isn't going to be the season of meme coins. However, meme coins are going to do exceptionally well because, like miner birds, they really do take a hammering when the prices come down, and when prices recover, they recover a lot faster. So it's no surprise to me that Dog with Hat, Floki, Bonk, Pepe are up there as well. No surprise at all. But look at the number of 5% plus gains that we've had in the last 24 hours. IOTA, haven't mentioned IOTA in 2 years. VeChain, not mentioned that in 2 years. Athena, Mantle is up. ICP is up. Injective, there's lots and lots of gainers. It's a good day. It's a good day. And long may these good days continue. Losers then, really nothing. One real coin is losing. Gold coming down is probably a direct result of the trade war. The trade war. Trump announced today, or the White House, sorry, announced today, early hours, that there is a 90-day pause on tariffs between China and America. And that means a 10% tariff either way. So that's the bullish news from that side of things. And because of that, the risk in the market drops. And when the risk in the market drops, the price of gold does, because gold is a risk-off asset. It's a flight to safety. So anyway, be a baby deer. Now, I might be miserable and old and not get excited when we're at $105,000 Bitcoin, but that doesn't mean you don't have to be. So today, ladies and gentlemen, what I would like you to be, what I would really like you to do is I want you to go outside today when you're going to do your shopping, and I just want you to be a baby deer. I want you to go out and enjoy today because you've earned it. You were here at $49,000 when we dipped that low. You were here at $75,000, $76,000 when we dipped that low. We're 50% higher than where we were a few weeks ago, and we're 100% higher than we were from 49,000. So be a baby deer. That's my message to you today. Enjoy the day, okay? I've been making OG videos with specific objectives in mind. And if you don't know what the OG videos are, we have a group of people that help support the channel on YouTube. And I think it's a couple of dollars a month. And we make videos for them. And we've made ones about the mental aspect of things. We've made ones about dollar cost averaging. And this weekend, I've made one about taking profits. And taking profits is all about paying yourself. And I'm not going to go through the video because it's for the OGs, but one of the things I said was, if you've made $5,000 or $10,000 so far in this bull run, or even $1,000 in this bull run, take $50 or $500 off the table and then go and spend it on your husband or your wife. Go and spend it on a meal. Go and spend it on a new duvet cover, whatever it might be. Pay yourself. It's important because it's not about the amount you spend. It's the significance of the fact that the crypto gains that you've made have paid for that item. And again, in a bull run, everybody thinks the Warren Buffett. Everyone thinks they are a genius in the bull run. You're not. You are sitting on an asset that is going up because of the way that markets move. And whether that be SUI, whether that be Ethereum, whether that be Bitcoin or Solana, you had the cojones to get in at hopefully a good price, and you are now riding it up. But you are not Warren Buffett. You will be Warren Buffett if you timed the bottom, time the top, time the bottom, time the top for the next 40 years. Then you're Warren Buffett. So paying yourself allows you to reward the good times. And that will then make you understand that when the end of the bull run comes, you need to start dollar cost averaging out, and you will be accustomed to selling the top and not accustomed to buying the top, which is what many people do. So the trade deal has been announced. They met in Switzerland. They're going to do a trade deal, and it's for 90 days. And I'm sure something's going to be ironed out over the next 90 days. So it all becomes a good, happy situation. And we're going to get rate cuts. Don't forget the rate cuts. We're going to get rate cuts. They're happening. Matthew Hyland, the market is behaving like inflation is crashing and will continue to crash. Meanwhile, Powell believes inflation will go up. Market seeing right through Powell's intentional ignorance. Now, I showed you Trueflation last week, and it showed inflation in America at 1.85%. That's below the 2% target. Powell knows damn well that inflation in America is coming down. Why? Because whether you like him or not, Trump said a few things before the election. He said that he would bring down the price of gas and oil in America, and he did. That has a knock-on effect on energy, which has a knock-on effect on absolutely everything that you do in your life. Work in an office, buy your groceries, get a taxi or a train somewhere, use the internet. Everything relies on energy. If the price of energy comes down, so passively does everything else. And that's what he's done. Now he wants to stimulate the economy, and he wants interest rates to come down. When interest rates come down, businesses borrow more, which then leads to employment, and away we go. That's all that Trump wants. Powell's playing the hard game. Now, World Liberty Finance, owned by the Trump family, majoritarily owned by the Trump family. I think they've got a controlling interest. Congratulations to the entire Ethereum community on successfully launching the Petra upgrade. Petra is a major step forward in scaling and security. At World Liberty Financials, we are proud to build alongside Ethereum and celebrate these milestones together. The best is yet to come. Who is doubting Ethereum on this stream? I'm not going to have my rant because the time will come when we talk about Ethereum. Okay, but I'm going to have my rant. I'm going to have my day in the sun, like everything else is its day in the sun. Right then, moving on. There's only a couple left to do, and then we'll actually get into the charts. There's a lot to talk about today. Remember, we have a poll question today. Good morning, Danny. We have a poll question today. Where is Bitcoin going to go next? And the options are 106, 109, 114. We've got 44% saying 109 and 44% saying 114,000. Where are we going to go? Where are we going to go? Up and to the right. DeFi Tuna has announced the completion of its airdrop snapshot for users who interacted with the platform between December the 14th, 2024 and May the 10th. The token will function as a revenue-sharing asset airdrop checker to follow. Now, if you're on Solana, go and check out DeFi Tuna. And a big shout out to Solana Floor, who used to follow me. Now they don't. I will have to have a word. Right then, a couple of other things. This is one's more for the OGs, for those of you that might remember Frankie de Gods. Or Frank de Gods, sorry. Frank de Gods is stepping down as the CEO of de Gods. And the reason this is so significant is 4 years ago, de Gods as a project on Solana, it was the biggest Solana NFT project. It sponsored a basketball team in America, not an NBA, but like a college team who had de Gods on their shirts, and they kind of led the way. And the biggest mistake they ever made was moving to Polygon because they were bribed. They were given $2 million to go to Polygon. They went over there. It was an utter disaster. Then they tried to do some stuff with Ethereum, utter disaster. Then they came back to Solana. Everybody hated on them. Okay, Frank then doxed himself so people knew who he was, and it all started coming down. And I think he lost a little bit of credibility. But people need to remember the good times of Frank de Gods. And like I said, those NFTs went from $100 to $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, and they've still got a lot of value today. And at one point in the future, when I've got more money than sense, I will buy a Frank de Gods just for the fact that they were the token. They were the NFT. And, you know, fair play. They were good times back then. 2021, 2020, they were good times. And finally, Mew, the Oracle will be making a Mew video. Today or tomorrow, I don't know what it's going to be. And Mew have dropped a video, which I'm not going to play all of it because the Oracle is going to include it in his. And I'm going to do a Binance Square video about this today. I cannot say that Mew is going to be listed on Binance because I don't have that knowledge. But what I can say is I made a lot of videos about Syrup Token, and Syrup Token may be getting a Binance listing, and lo and behold, Syrup got a Binance listing. Mew is one of the biggest meme coins from last year. It's a year and a bit old now. It's still going. It's one of the best meme coins, and I'm not saying that because they sponsor the channel. You see bottom right-hand corner. I'm saying it because we sponsor with people that we like. We've made videos about Mew before they sponsored us. This is not a reaction. This was a reward for covering Mew. They are going to go up, and the Oracle's going to make a video about it with price predictions. So I'm not saying go out and put your life savings into Mew. I'm saying if you've got Mew, if you've won it on some of our giveaways, hold on to it because I think we are looking at big things for Mew. And again, big things being, I can't remember if I said a 10 billion market cap, 5 billion market cap, something like that, maybe even higher. Now then, this is what's happening this week. Tuesday, core CPI. Core CPI. This is going to send us to all-time highs. That's my prediction. Now, I don't know who's in chat to hear this, but I want some witnesses, because about a month and a half ago, I made a video saying that we were going to have all-time highs by the end of April. And I am wrong. And I am clearly wrong because it is the 12th of May and we don't have an all-time high. But if we go to an all-time high tomorrow, I was wrong by 2 weeks, which I don't think was too bad. because when I made that video, we were below 90,000. I don't know what we were at, maybe $80,000. And it wasn't to do with me being Fitzy-Dramus, sorry. It's the fact that it's the cycle that we are in, and the April cycle and the January cycle and the September and the October and the November, the cyclical nature of trading and Bitcoin and the 4-year cycle, all that kind of stuff. It creates patterns in the charts, and you can read them. And you have a dip, and then you have another dip, but during those dips, you go to levels where you kind of time it. 30% from our previous all-time high in January took us down to roughly 76, 77, 75,000, which is kind of where we went to. So that 30% dip where everyone was predicting the end of the world, that was wrong. And I also predicted all-time highs by the end of April, and I'm going to be wrong by 2 weeks. I don't care if I'm wrong by 2 weeks. What I care about is that it's following the cyclical nature. That's what's important. If I'm out by 2 weeks, I don't care. I said the Bitcoin all-time high of this bull run is going to be November the 24th. Number one, that's my wife's birthday. Number two, that's the date of the previous all-time high in 2021. Do I care if it's December the 8th? Do I care if it's November the 16th? No. It's not meant to be the precise date and time of the all-time high. It's a marker. So by this time, we should be, in a marathon race, if the guy wants to break the world record, he needs to be at about an hour by a certain mile. Okay? Now, if he's a couple of minutes short or a couple of minutes faster than that time, it doesn't matter. It's a marker. He's within range of it. And that's how I see it. When I say, and have been saying, that October, November, December, that's when our all-time high is going to be this cycle. You were hearing people like Ben Cowan and Crypto Banter telling you that we were going to get it in May, and we were going to get it in April, and we might have it in June, and that's the end of it. And I've been saying all along that that's not how it plays out. It's normally 18 months after the halving, which takes us to the end of this year. And everything else that we can see in front of us, CPI coming down, leads to interest rate cuts. Not one, but maybe 2 or 3 interest rate cuts. More money comes in. QE, quantitative easing, hasn't really started yet. QT, quantitative tightening, is slowing down. So the money flow isn't coming in, and the interest rates haven't come down. So how people are calling for all-time highs or the end of the bull run before all of this has happened, I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me. The same way that Ethereum at $1,700 and $1,600 doesn't make sense to me. Now we're at $2,500. It does make sense to me. So Tuesday is the day. We've also got on Thursday jobless claims, housing, jobs, inflation. The 3 things Powell wants. 3 things: higher unemployment, lower housing inflation, and lower inflation. 3 things he wants. He's told us this over and over again. I'm sick of telling you the same thing, and I'm sure you're sick of me saying the same thing. But that is just where we are. Now, the other thing I'm expecting, I've not looked at this chart for a week. I'm expecting this chart to have moved significantly since we looked at it last week. This is the DXY. Where are we at the DXY? DXY is just the strength of the dollar. As expected, we are pumping. Let's wait for this to come up. And if you look at my beautiful pink line, look at that. I couldn't have drawn that any better. That's what we're going to do. Okay? And that price there is 103.4. That's the bottom of the bull market support band. You can say what you want about the DXY not having a bull market support band, but it's only a moving average. Okay? Let's stick with that. So I'm expecting it to come up to probably get somewhere in there. We draw them down very roughly. Okay? Now, I'm not Bob Ross. I don't have a perm and I don't have an afro, but my drawing skills are legendary. So I'm expecting this to come back up. Okay? Remember, we went all the way down here. This move was tariffs. So if this move was tariffs to the downside, what do you think is going to happen here? This is going to be tariff moves to the upside. So if we've done that move there, which was 104 to 98, let's say it's a 6-point move down, we're going to get a 6-point move up, which would take us to about 104. Of course it would. So that would put us back in the range. And that's what's going to play out in my eyes. Now, one of the tenets is that Bitcoin dominance, DXY going up is bad for Bitcoin. Yes. But also, you have to remember how low this is. Look back here. We've bounced off that line since we came up 3 years ago. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 lines. We bounced. We broke it based on, let's call it a black swan. And what have we done? We've come right back up to the level that we come down to. So we've recovered. This was a black swan event for the markets. It was a shock. You had your favorite influencers telling you that Trump was going to ruin the market. Trump was going to destroy the economy. Your iPhone was going to cost you $25,000. Your bacon was going to cost you $15 a slice. You heard all of this. And another reason I've been telling you to avoid following all of those people, have a dissenting voice. That can be me, okay? Because I'm never going to be right 100% of the time, but I'm going to disagree with most of what people say on crypto Twitter. And it's not because I want to be argumentative, it's because I don't agree with them, okay? If the sun goes down, they will scream, oh my God, the sun's gone. It's the end of the world. The sun has finished. What are we going to do? And I'm going to tell you it's sunset. And then the sun comes up the following day. Oh my God, we've been saved. The sun's risen. Fantastic. Hallelujah. Praise be. And I'm going to tell you it's sunrise. Okay. I'm not here to be a degen, overly optimistic type of guy. I'm here to be a voice of reason. And if that voice of reason is boring, it probably explains why we haven't got 5,000 people watching us, because I'm not screaming moon every 5 seconds. But this is the Bitcoin dominance chart. Now, we have seen an almighty drop, have we not? And what have I been saying? The Bitcoin dominance breakdown will be quick and violent. That's what I've been saying. And I've shown you what happened last time. It's a little bit like an episode of Twin Peaks, this. You know, when you get the recap. Where's Laura Palmer? She's in her box. Right. Look at that Bitcoin dominance breakdown. It did take a while. I think we covered this. It took 2 months, didn't it? Something like that to break down. But it went, I mean, if we want to really be pedantic, it went from 73% and it broke down, if we go to the bottom, to 39%. So it lost 3/4 of its value, 60% of its value, whatever that number is. It doesn't really matter. Now, I drew, again, Bob Ross is on the cards here. Bob Ross drew his pink line. Maybe I drew that last week, maybe I drew it the week before. It doesn't really matter, does it? I've drawn a line. And this line is a hope for the alts. Now, don't believe for 1 minute that this is the end of Bitcoin dominance, because we had this before. Remember? This was November. This was the election, and the alts ran. Oh, not the election. Yeah, the election. This was the election, not the inauguration. And Bitcoin dominance came down here, chuckled at you for buying all your alts, and then came straight back into the range. Now, all we've done is come back into the range. That is all we've done. So again, we are not there yet. We are not at all-time highs. The Lambo is not being ordered today. We have just broken into the range that we have been in since the time of the Hobbits, all the way back here, okay? Bilbo set off over here, okay? And he's gone through the Shire. He's met with the guys with the beards, the humans. He's turned up at Mount Doom, whatever it's called. And guess what? He hasn't thrown the ring away yet. So we're still on our journey. This is probably about the time that the orcs catch him. I reckon that's where we're at. We're at the time where the orcs have caught the Hobbits. That's where we are now. We've not done anything. We did go above. That was a worry. But now we're back in range. And for us to really start to cheer the alts on, we've got to move probably to about 60. I'd say we need to break 61%. But even then, down here, I think we need to break 60%. So we've got a ways to go. But again, it can be short and it can be violent. And we want short and violent. That's what we want. So again, happy days. Now, I'm only going to look at one of these because we're going to be here all day looking at charts. And we don't want to be looking at charts all day because we've got a stream to get through. In fact, we've not even got through the charts and we're halfway through the show. So let's move on. Let's stop talking about Hobbits. I don't know why I got into that subject. Right. Again, very quickly checking in where we are. We have all of our lines on here. This was the 2024. This was the bottom of the bull market support band. We kind of came up, we wiggled, and we've broken out. So where we've got to go to next is 3.64 trillion would break us at 2 new all-time highs. That's the total market cap of crypto. We're at 3.31. Now, if you look at that move there, now let's just have a quick check on this. Let's pick a nice color. Let's say that this plays out. That takes us to 3.85. So that would break us to new all-time highs if we just replicated that move. So I think the Trump announcement today, where he starts to talk about the bullishness of the trade deal, that's going to propel the market today. And I think we're going to break it in the next few days. Why would we not break all-time highs? Why would we not break all-time highs? Right then, let us move on very quickly. Now, this is a new chart, but I have taken one chart out to show you this. Now, this, let me bring it down a little bit so you can see it a bit better at your end. Right, this is the Bitcoin reserves on exchanges. This is the most important chart for you to remember at the back of your mind when Bitcoin goes into a correction. Pretty much every month for about 3 years, there is less and less Bitcoin on exchanges. And what is, and I can't draw lines on this, this here, that dot there is the election in America. That dot there. Now, if I was cynical, I would say that everybody knew from the minute that President Trump won the election that Bitcoin was going to be on the agenda. Now, forget the fact that we've come from 3.4 to 2.5 in that period of time. That's 900,000, right? We were at 3 million in November. We are at, come on, show me, 2.56 million. So 440,000 Bitcoin has gone in 6 months. We are 6 months out from here. We will break below 2 million. At what point does mass panic set in for Bitcoin? Because you can clearly see the white line is the price, and you can clearly see the blue line is the supply on exchanges. It's breaking down. And I said 6 months ago, 12 months ago, this is going to take 18 months, 2 years for it to have any effect on people. But I think significantly breaking 2 million Bitcoin on exchanges is going to cause mass panic. Why? Because America's buying 1 million. They're buying half the supply. Saylor wants to buy another, what, 400,000? Something like that. That's 1.4 million. That leaves 600,000 Bitcoin for the rest of the world. So although the number seems high, because it's what, it's 15% of the total supply of Bitcoin. It used to be a lot higher, and this blue line does not seem to change direction. Now, the white line going up could possibly cause this to change direction. At what point are you going to sell? Are you going to sell your Bitcoin? Are you going to sell your Bitcoin at 250,000? Are you going to sell your Bitcoin at 500,000? Are you going to sell your Bitcoin at $1 million? What number do you sell your Bitcoin at? What number is going to change your life forever? That's the question. And I don't know the answer because it's your question. But this is going to be a chart that maybe we'll look at every few weeks. Maybe a few weeks. Now, I'm going to move on very quickly. Let's look at some news. That was enough of the charts. That's pretty much taken up the entire show. But it is a Monday, and we do charts on a Monday. We torture people on a Monday with charts. Miners show strength, but longs are at risk. Why? I wouldn't say my longs are at risk. What I will say is, and we're going to look at the Bitcoin chart in a minute, I would say that we're going to get to the point where we get rejected and we come down a little bit. That's what I would say. So, sell pressure has hit 2025 lows, bullish conviction despite rising market leverage. Bitcoin stays above 100,000. Overall RSI and heavy longs hint at a volatility ahead. I think that volatility is going to be today and tomorrow. Today and tomorrow, we're going to get volatility. Wicking up and down. Maybe we get a $5,000 move in a day. Maybe we go to 100 and back to 105. Maybe go to 109 and come down to 102. We're going to get a volatile couple of days. But Trump did tell us last week to buy stocks. He said buy stocks last week. Now, he's telling everybody what's going to happen. Okay? He's a master of manipulation. He's never going to tell people to buy stocks and then drop the stock market. What he's going to do is shake the market so it comes down, then tell everybody that you need to buy stocks. Then it's going to come back up to where it was or a little bit higher. And then recency bias is going to make him look good. If you had a baby in front of you and you poked it in the eye, it would cry. And then if you give it an ice cream, it would stop crying, it would eat the ice cream. But the baby's still got a sore eye. It's just now got an ice cream. That's what Trump's doing with you. He's poking you in the eye, he's making you hurt, and then he's giving you an ice cream to make you feel better. Miner selling pressure hits 2025 low. That's a positive sign. It means miners are expecting the price to go up. And this isn't so much of a thing nowadays, but 450 Bitcoin a day coming into the market has less and less impact on the market. But if the miners simply stop, then the only Bitcoin left to buy is the stuff on exchanges. So it is a sign that miners expect the price to go up. It does reduce the sell pressure on Bitcoin, but ever so slightly. It was a massive thing 8 years ago. Now it's not so much. But longs, again, longs are going to get liquidated, okay? Because what's going to happen is we might go to 109,000 and then we're just going to have an absolute lorry full of longs and they're all going to get liquidated because the market chases liquidity. And if we've got the opportunity to bring the price to 103,000 and liquidate $2 billion worth of longs, believe you me, it's going to happen. But again, it's going to be short term. If we are in the banana zone, we are going up and to the right for a while. If we are in the banana zone. A swift move downward could cascade into billions in liquidations. And again, this could cause the price to really come down. But again, I think we've got a little bit more left to run before this happens. Bitcoin was trading at 104. The RSI was at 75. It's overbought. Yes. But the longer we stay at these prices, the better. I don't think we are, but the longer we do, the better. Now, let's have a look at the chart, and then we're going to move on. We need to start making a little bit of a race now. I think we're going to overrun today, but I hope you don't mind. Right, remember, if you are new here, say hello in chat. We do not bite. There are no stupid questions, only stupid answers by me. Feel free to give us a follow. If you're on Binance, go to YouTube, find Crypto Warehouse, give us a follow. It is like pulling teeth on YouTube. Nobody is watching crypto YouTube videos at the minute. You following us and you watching some of our videos helps the channel. And by helping the channel, we can then reach more people which then helps us even more. Now, the RSI is back in this territory, and that could indicate maybe something like this could happen, which would indicate something like this could happen. But the RSI, and I'm sure if the Oracle was here, I'm sure if KB was in chat, they would agree with me, or maybe not. When you're in the throes of a bull run, or maybe even going into price discovery, which we could do in the next few days, the RSI doesn't really stand true, because the amount of buy pressure just sends the RSI higher. So even though we're at 75, it doesn't mean we can't go to 80. So even though the RSI is showing overbought, when we're in this kind of macro environment where the risk is coming back into the market, and if the trade deal is sorted out, and if core CPI comes in tomorrow low, 2.2, 2.3, then we're going to get another leg up. And then we might get the correction. So what we might do with Bitcoin, these are my targets, by the way, for Bitcoin. We have got 106,000, which I think was the last daily close. I think 106,000. We then got 109,000, which is the all-time high. And then we've got my target up here, which is a fib level, which is about 114.8. Now, I also said to you on Friday that I want 111, 112,000 to break. Why? Because my finger in the air price target for Bitcoin, this bull run was 112,000. 1.6 times the previous all-time high, to be precise, which is $111,040. That was my target. And that was based on diminishing returns, based on the previous all-time highs. Now, the previous all-time highs were like 4.3, 2.4, whatever, right? And I simply calculated it forward to be 0.6 this cycle. So 1.6 times the previous all-time high gave us about 112. And at the time, I thought I was clever because it's a pretty reasonable target. And I'm waiting for it to break. I'm waiting for 112,000 to break to then invalidate my prediction based on the diminishing returns. Why? Because since I made that prediction, we've got ETFs. And I'm sorry, but anybody that predicted the price of Bitcoin before ETF showed up is going to be wrong, because they've just flooded the market with cash. They just buy all the Bitcoin. Michael Saylor is coming in and actively buying more Bitcoin. So those two new influxes of cash are going to invalidate any price target I have. Where do we go is the question. If we can take out these two price targets in the next few weeks, I do expect us to come back down and have a summer lull. And again, I could be wrong on that as well. So I expect maybe we do this to June, and then we do this, and then we curve back up, and then we do this. So that's my kind of rough prediction. And if you look back at previous years, we have a summer lull. So when we do hit 115,000 or 120 or wherever we go, then I expect the volume to drop in the summer. And with that, I think the price action will drop. And I think the other option is we do this for months. And then September, we come back up. Because we did that, if you remember, we did that here. Did we not? We did that from March to October last year. So there's no reason why we don't do that this year. And maybe we do, maybe we don't. It's just a possibility. But I think we've got a couple of decent targets. Close above 106, close above 109, and close above 115. That's what I want. And it would be great if we did this, which isn't going to happen because that's not a chart pattern that exists. But you know what I mean? That would be great. So that's what I think. Now, at the downside, if we had a sharp correction to the downside, we've still got the bull market support band beneath us, which is at 92.5 or so. When you leave the bull market support band, you leave it for a little bit of time. Like if you look back here, we left it in October and we didn't come back to it to March. So 6 months we were gone. If we look here, we left it in April. So April, May, June, July, August, September. Maybe we do that to September, touch it and go up. But I think we're going to get a pump before a retracement. And again, I'm not super bullish on this moment in time. I don't think we're going to go to $150,000 today, but I do think we're going to get somewhere near all-time highs this week. And maybe then we have a correction. And we'll get a rejection as well to the downside. How long will this bull run go? So I have been saying forever, November the 24th is my marker for the end of the bull run. And it's going to be wrong, clearly, because you can't be that precise. November the 24th, 2021 was the previous all-time high. So I think a good marker is 4 years on from that date. We could run to the middle of January next year. We could top out on Halloween this year. And there's no way of knowing this far out, but that period, October, November, December, should be all-time highs. And the problem is, I don't know if Bitcoin is going to leave the 4-year cycle. And the issue is, in my head, we're supposed to have a recession next year in America. That's what's supposed to happen next year in America. And if that's the case, Bitcoin's going to come down. So that's my problem. I think November, so 6 months from here, June, July, August, September, October, November, 6 months left, I think, to get in. And we're going to go up. And these people saying we're never going to go below 90,000 or 100,000 again. I said the same thing at 40,000 and 50,000 and 60,000. I said we're never going to see 50,000 again. I now believe that we are never going to go below 70,000, 80,000 ever again. That's what I believe. But that doesn't mean a black swan can't happen tomorrow and China pays a visit to Taiwan. Potentially. That could cause a black swan event to then push us down. So excluding black swans, I don't think we're going to go as low as 80,000 again. I do think we can break 100,000 because we're only a few thousand above it. We could easily go down to 92,000 again. Easily. Okay? Because that's only a $12,000 move, which is only, what, a 15% move, 12% move to the downside. Of course we can do that. Now, Ethereum. From the sublime to the ridiculous. We were talking about a $700, $1,200 target for Ethereum a few weeks ago, and now you've got the likes of, who wrote this? We don't even know who wrote it, telling us that Ethereum is going to go to $5,000 to $10,000 this cycle. It's unbelievable, isn't it? Unbelievable how the narrative switches. Nothing's changed in my eyes from 3, 4, 5 weeks ago. Ethereum is still the second top dog. Yes, Vitalik is still the wrong person to be the face of Ethereum. Both of those things can be true simultaneously. Pectra has been a trigger for this move up. But make no mistake about it, the BlackRocks, the World Liberty Finance, those are the people behind these types of moves. They wanted Ethereum to be ignored and dropped off the face of the earth so they could buy as much. And I even told you last week, BlackRock bought $27 million worth of Ethereum on one day. Why are BlackRock? And this isn't BlackRock for the ETF. This is BlackRock for themselves. BlackRock also bought, I don't know how much it was, $100, $200 million worth of Bitcoin for itself last week and the week before. So we should never have been at $1,600. And now I think $2,500 for Ethereum is a good price for it to be at. I'm not overly excited by it. I'm not overly depressed by it. It's where I think it should be. It's an honest value, $2,500. Now the issue is, if you go off the 0.04, which is 25 Ethereum for one Bitcoin, rule of thumb, then we should be at $4,000. And we're not. So Ethereum, as we've said time and time again, has underperformed Bitcoin. And when it rallies to $2,500, everyone is cheering Ethereum on. It's still a good $1,500 below where it should be. So recency bias, keep that in your mind. Okay, got really itchy nose. Talking of itchy noses, did anybody see the video of the tissue on the table with Starmer and Macron? That was funny. Somebody said something and I said that Keir Starmer is too boring to do that kind of thing. And I said, I clearly believe that Keir Starmer would snort tissues. In a new report by Trend Research, LD Capital Ethereum is projected to exceed $5,000 with potential to reach $10,000 if Bitcoin surpasses $300,000 during the current market cycle. I don't necessarily agree with some of those numbers. I think if Bitcoin goes to $250,000, then we're certainly going to see a $5,000 Ethereum. But I think we're going to go towards 8 to 10,000. 8 to 10,000 has been my Ethereum target all along. And go back and watch my videos, 8 to 10,000. At one point, I was predicting maybe we go even as high as $20,000, but those days are gone. I think 8 to 10,000 is a solid price. If we go to $10,000 or $8,000 for my Ethereum, I'm going to sell it because that is life-changing money at $8 to $10,000 for me. Even $6,000 or $7,000 is there. Now, this is an article. I can't zoom in to let you read it. But basically, the long and short of it is the report attributes the $5,000 price target to several macro and regulatory trends. These include the anticipated end of QT in the US and the start of interest rate cuts, which we've talked about. Now, this is the bit I want you to read. I think you can see it from there. There is a rumor that ETF Ethereum staking is going to be approved by the end of the month. Now, it's a rumor. It's only a rumor. We can't say for a fact that it's going to happen. But if Ethereum staking is approved, as it should have been approved all along, then we're going to see an explosion in the price of Ethereum. Absolutely. And I said last week, $2,500 to $3,000. And we're at $2,500 already. $3,000 is going to break. The ETF becomes so desirable when Ethereum staking comes out. It becomes so desirable. Paying 2.5% in Ethereum minus the fees of BlackRock, paying 2.5% on an asset like Ethereum is a game changer for that ETF. And it opens up the Solana staking ETF, which is going to pay probably 6%. So Solana is going to absolutely rip. But remember, it hasn't happened yet, and it is a rumor, and this could be people predicting it's going to happen, which means we could see a dump. Maybe we go back to $2,000, but I am massively bullish. As I have always been, I've been massively bullish on Ethereum all along. I haven't changed my opinion. And please bear in mind, when you watch other people, if they flip bullish, bearish, bullish, bearish, bullish, bearish on coins, where is their conviction? Where is your conviction if you believe that kind of stuff? Now, you can follow things to the grave, don't get me wrong. You can follow things to the grave. Certainly, you can get into a coin and have such belief in it that you don't see the underlying problems and end up losing all of your investment. That is true. But we're talking about Ethereum. We talk about Solana. We were bullish on Solana at $30. We were bullish on Bitcoin at $20,000. We were bullish at Ethereum on $1,600. I've said time and time again, Ethereum, I don't understand why the price isn't higher. Because the argument that Solana is going to overtake it, which I made a video about, by the way, is not there. Ethereum was all things to all men 4 or 5 years ago. It's now not all things to all men because it never should have been all things to all men. It's now the financial blockchain. Solana is the meme culture, the NFT culture. That's what Solana is, and it's good at it. And it brings in retail, it brings in adoption, but it's never going to be Ethereum. Ethereum will feed Solana the products like Ondo, probably Maple Finance and all of those others will go to Solana eventually. Of course they will. But BlackRock will build on Ethereum. They will all build on Ethereum. And that's why it's never going to go anywhere, no matter what you say. And if you don't want to own that Ethereum, they will go and buy that Ethereum. The same way that if you get shaken out holding your Bitcoin at $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, BlackRock will buy it and they'll hold it to $250,000 because they've got conviction. Do you think BlackRock change their mind about Ethereum every week? Or do you think they've got a 5-year plan? They've got a 5-year plan. Of course they have. Well, if they've got a 5-year plan, why don't you believe in their 5-year plan? How often does BlackRock get it wrong? How often do you see financial institutions making massive, massive mistakes? And I don't mean subprime mortgage crashes where they go and over-leverage themselves. I'm talking about a long-term strategic plan to buy up all the housing in America, to buy up all the land in the Ukraine. Those decisions that making today are going to make them 100x profit in 5 to 10 years' time. They are backing Ethereum. You should back it as well. Not with all your assets, part of your assets. Now, crypto users to turn to dark stablecoins as governments rolled out regulations. This is something I'd never considered. I'd never considered this at all. So this is a really well-written article for me because I didn't think about this. Obviously, you can use any coin you want. You can use privacy coins like Monero to send money back and forth and things like that. But look at Monero. It's been taken off Binance. It's been taken off other places in certain instances as well. Countries have banned it. Italy, France have banned it. And I understand the point of view that you need to stop the bad actors. And you can't stop the bad actors with Monero. And it doesn't matter. I get there is a balance between fairness and privacy and stopping the bad actors. And we need to stop the bad actors as much as we need privacy. But there comes a point where I think Tornado Cash and Monero and things like that, they don't have a place for me in crypto. They don't. And you'll hear people disagree with me, and that's perfectly fine. You're entitled to your opinion. But I could see this happening. I could see a dark stablecoin. Dark stablecoins are hypothetical, and to become a reality, creators will have to figure out how to avoid things like pushback and prevent manipulation. Dark stablecoins offer a solution to the regulated future that governments envisage for stablecoins. Now, the issue for stablecoins is, if it's a proper one, it's going to be backed by dollars. If it's backed by dollars, it's in a bank account. If it's in a bank account, it's censorable, and the American government can go after them. So let's say, for example, a country in Asia that starts with North decides to launch its own stablecoin, and it's backed by dollars. Those dollars have to sit in a bank. Sanctions can be put in place by America to then put it out of business. So they're not going to be able to use dollars in a bank account to back this. They'll have to use crypto. And they can't use USDC or USDT because that can be frozen. So this is going to have to be backed by something like Bitcoin. And then it could theoretically work. Of course it could. But is it going to happen? Because let's say you have $1,000 in a dark stablecoin and it's in your wallet. That wallet will be blacklisted. If you send it to another wallet, that wallet will be blacklisted. So how do you get the money back into the system? Because you can't send it to MetaMask, for example, might block it. You can't send it to Binance because Binance will blacklist all of your wallets. So there are an awful lot of ways for Binance and other exchanges to stop this from happening. But theoretically, it can. Because if you have 1,000 Bitcoin in a wallet and you say, I have dark USDC, and it's got a $10 million market cap, it's backed by 1,000 Bitcoin, then it can exist. And then you can use wallets that are uncensorable wallets to send it back and forth. The issue isn't creating it. The issue is coming out the other end and stopping it from being turned into fiat. So again, it talks about this, about the fact that it could be backed by Ethereum or wrapped Bitcoin. USDE is a synthetic, which is what we've just been talking about. But again, I think this is something that could happen. I think you could see a dark stablecoin. But what I would advise you to do is never go anywhere near it. Play by the rules, because playing by the rules is the right thing to do. And, you know, pay your taxes, declare your crypto. You're going to make way more money out of Bitcoin than you'll ever have to pay in tax. You never pay more than 100% tax, so you're never going to end up with no Bitcoin. And if you do have $10,000 worth of Bitcoin that becomes $200,000 worth of Bitcoin, and you pay $40,000 in tax, you've made $160,000 in your Bitcoin. That's the way to look at it. Pay your taxes, do it fairly. Is Binance Alpha driving Solana meme coin season? It rallies, Mudeng rallies 50%. What I would say on this is, just keeping an eye on chat, making sure everybody is here. What I would say about this is, yes, I think it is. Binance Alpha and the way that Binance Alpha has been changed is really, really good. It's kind of like a way of Binance to get people to trade on coins that aren't listed on their major exchange. We saw Syrup and Mu both get listed on Binance Alpha. Syrup has now become a full Binance listing. Being listed on Binance, by the way, is not the end of it, because all of the smaller exchanges that use Binance's liquidity, I don't know if you've ever looked into how it all works, but there are exchanges that use the liquidity from Binance and the trading from Binance to then power their exchanges. So being listed on Binance opens up 50 more exchanges, and all of that liquidity and all of that trading volume comes into your coin. Now, over time, it's going to have less and less of an effect, the same way I talk about NFTs. But for now, I think, and I've not heard this from anybody else, by the way, I think Mu is primed to be listed on Binance. That's why I talk about it. We knew Syrup was going to be listed on Binance because it was so obvious. It's a real-world asset token. Of course it's going to be listed. But the likes of Mudeng and Goat and Mog and Mu and all of these others appearing on Binance Alpha is helping the meme coin community, because those coins are pumping. That's driving liquidity into the meme cycle, if you like. So Mudeng, is going to be listed. We're going to see more and more of this. This is a trend rather than an individual coin. So keep an eye on this, because all the coins that we talked about, the OGs, okay, because let's point one thing out. I've said all along, 2025 meme coins are dead. I've made videos about it. But 2024 meme coins have had a year and they've built out. And the likes of Mu and Mog and those types of coins and Brett, which have seemed to be dead, they're finished, okay? A meme coin will go from nothing. A meme coin will go from nothing and do 1,000x in a week. And I'm not saying that we need to go out and buy meme coins. What I'm saying is, for those that you hold, this is a good sign. Now, I've got a red light on my camera, but everything's running perfectly fine. Don't quite understand that. So let's move on very quickly. We've got a couple of things to talk about, two more things to talk about. It is 12:03. We've overrun, but bear with me. Two more things to talk about, and then we are done for the day. Done for the day. And you can go about your day in peace. So, do I think we will get to $5 for XRP in May? No, I do not. That would be a 100% gain. It's not going to happen. I think if we get to I think if we get anywhere near $3.40, I think that would be a massive achievement. Where is my camera? Why is my camera giving me so much stick? Right, okay, so we'll move on. My camera is back. My last one is an important one because, again, for the likes of Manjeet and maybe Charles, and maybe some of the newer people that watch that don't talk, I don't bite. You can ask me any questions you want. I'm never going to bite you. Typing in chat helps the algorithm. If you don't type in chat, the algorithm thinks that nobody's watching. So asking me questions doesn't interrupt me, doesn't interfere with the flow, and I am more than happy for anybody to ask me anything on the stream. but typing in chat really helps. So feel free to ask. Now, this is one for the new people, really. And that's, you've heard of real world assets. You've heard of tokens that get mentioned here, there, and everywhere. Go and buy this micro cap real world asset project. That's the kind of term that was used 12 months ago. Go and buy this AI micro cap. It just is a buzzword. So let's talk about serious big boy real world asset projects and whether I agree with this list. And by the way, this is a sponsored article, not by me, but by this individual on here. So I am going to ignore the last one, which he's been paid to include. So Adrian Barkley, you've done a good job, but a bad job. Number 1, Cardano. Is that a real world asset token? No. Would I buy Cardano? Yes, because Cardano is going to connect Bitcoin to Cardano. And I've been telling you about this since Charles mentioned it 6 months ago. Cardano is going to melt faces. Now, I've never thought I would say that, and I've never said that before. Cardano is going to melt faces when it's connected up to Bitcoin, because it's going to become a layer 2 of Bitcoin, a side chain of Bitcoin, whatever you want to call it, whatever makes sense to you. It's going to not partner with Bitcoin, but it's going to allow you to earn yield on Bitcoin natively. And it's going to allow you to pay for transactions on Bitcoin and Cardano, and it's going to allow a lot of DeFi stuff. So Cardano is a coin I would buy. It's not a real world asset project. Now then, XRP. XRP, yeah, absolutely. Stable coins. Everybody in the XRP community is kicking off at XRP because they think that they've dropped the ball by not looking at XRP and looking at stable coins. And what I believe they are missing the point with, if XRP wants to become this banking infrastructure, it needs its own stablecoin, which it has, RLUSD. It needs its own token, which is XRP. It's going to do, what's it called? CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. It's going to operate that. It's going to work with Hedera, and it's going to work with Quant. And it's already been mentioned about being used for the EU stablecoin. So Ripple and XRP are going nowhere, and they're also going to have a unicorn IPO. So would I buy Ripple? Yes. This is the only one mentioned, which is technically a real world asset token, and that is Ondo. Would I buy Ondo? Absolutely. And the reason I would buy Ondo is that even though it's only got 2 products at the minute, it's got BlackRock behind it, and this is just the start of Ondo's journey. They are going to be a whale, a unicorn. Okay? Now, don't look at Rexus, because the pick that I would go for is Maple. I told you about the coin at 12 cents. It ran up to 30 cents yesterday, I think. Maple, for me, is going to hit a $4 billion a $4 billion TVL by the end of this year. It's at a 1.5 billion TVL. Now, you can multiply the token price by whatever you want. Ondo, I've said, probably in a lot of videos, I think it might go to $10. That's a 10x or 9x from here. I think if you look at a 25-cent Maple Finance coin, I think clearly it's going to go to $1 anytime soon. Yes. I think then you're looking at $2. I think above that, you're looking at maybe $5, $10. But again, I would buy, personally, ADA, I would buy XRP, I would buy Ondo, and I would buy Maple. And I'm not saying that because I'm sponsored by Maple, but I would buy Ondo, I would buy Maple, I would buy all of these 4 coins, which is rare because I don't normally agree with those types of articles. Now, we can get rid of all that. I can go full screen because that's the end. Let me just bring this up to actually stop all the stuttering, which goes on these streams. There we go. There we go. I should be all me now. Okay. Very quickly then, it's overrun by a while. ADA, most weighted, I agree. Kishan, I'm targeting XRP, ADA, BNB, Ondo, and Sui. That is not a bad shout, Manjeet. Not a bad shout. XRP, ADA, BNB, Ondo, and Sui. That is a really good portfolio. Don't worry, Alpha. It's not. I don't want everybody to type every 5 minutes, but if you do have the chance to send a message in, send it in. I do reply to people as well. Now, what's coming up this week? We've got the Sui Solana video, and this is one I've been wanting to make for a couple of weeks. Basically, I'm comparing the Sui 2025 bull run with the Solana 2021 bull run, and giving you reasons why I think Sui is going to be the Solana of this bull run. And this is not a sponsored video. Sui's not paid me for this. I mention it on the streams. I always say I think Sui is the Solana of this bull run. So because of that, I need to make a video explaining why. So that's point number one. The Oracle is going to make a Mew video this week. Mew brought out a video this week, which I've asked them for. They've sent it across to me. We're going to make a Mew video this week. I am streaming Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday this week. I think the Oracle might be doing Monday, and he's either doing Friday with me or his own stream on Friday. So he's got 2 to do. So that'll be 6 streams this week. I'm going to make a few more videos as well. And if you're not an OG, if you don't support the channel and you want to, it's a few dollars a month and it's on YouTube. And I make a video, at least one video a week, about something that I want the OGs to understand. And I never give away all of that information on the live streams. It's always something a little bit more personal. And probably on Friday, we're going to have our first town hall for the OGs in Discord. But I need to arrange that with the Oracle. There's a lot of sleeps to go, a lot of water to go under the bridge, but that's going to happen on Friday, I think. Anyway, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Kishan, Majit, Alpha, Danny, Charles, Mags, thank you all for coming. I will see you in the morning. I am going to go and wait for the fireworks to start in about 4 hours' time. I'm expecting big things from the market today. So take care, everybody. I will see you all tomorrow morning. Take care.